What is up, Gig Nation? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you that are loyal subscribers and have been following this channel for a while, you'll know that I've tried out just about every gig economy app out there, and definitely all of the delivery apps. So when I find an app that I enjoy, that I actually like delivering with, then I kind of keep it in my back pocket and I use it a bunch to make deliveries. Two of them that I've actually been using a lot lately are UberEats and Grubhub. Today's video, we're going to look at both of these apps, and I'm going to tell you which one I like better and which one I think is better for delivery drivers. I'm going to dive into everything from driver pay, and I'm going to show you my earnings on both of the apps. I'm going to show you how the payout is calculated on both of these apps and how much you can expect to earn on both Grubhub and UberEats. We're also going to look at which app has better features and better technology, which is more enjoyable to work for. They both kind of run things a little bit differently, so there's a lot that you need to know as far as that. And then which app is easiest to sign up for. I'm actually going to start off with that because that's honestly one of the biggest differentiators here. So let's kick it off with the sign up process. If you're looking to sign up for a side hustle, start making money today, if you need the cash, maybe you're in between jobs, you're retired and you're looking to make some extra money, or like I said, it's just a side hustle, but you want to get paid out quickly, UberEats is going to be your go-to here because their sign-up process is relatively fast and they can get you on the road within a week. For me, it took me about a day and a half to get started. Grubhub was very different. They actually have a waiting list. They try and keep a cap on the amount of drivers per area. And for me, I waited like 6 months to get started with Grubhub. So like I said, if you are actually looking for a job in a relatively narrow time frame, Grubhub's probably not going to be the one that's going to get you started and get you earning money quickly. You should definitely still sign up for it because there are a lot of good reasons to be on board with Grubhub, but getting started quickly is not one of them. So go ahead and move towards UberEats if that's what you're looking for. So what exactly are you going to get when you sign up for both of these delivery services? Well, let's start with Grubhub. And I have here a Grubhub Delivery Bag. And that's something that they sent me when I got started. They also sent me a larger heat bag for delivering pizzas. And this thing is very well insulated. It's by far the best heat bag that any app is going to send you. I don't know that they're still sending it to all drivers, but something that you should definitely take advantage of because those things are actually pretty expensive, like 30 or 40 bucks. You also get a Grubhub delivery card. So if you have a place and pay order, you can pay for it at the restaurant. They will send you that as well. That's something that was updated after I had already started driving, so they sent me that in the mail, but I would assume that it comes with your initial sign up package going forward when you sign up for Grubhub. UberEats isn't really going to send you anything, actually. I didn't receive anything in the mail from them when I started. Everything that I needed was just in the app, so I downloaded the app and I was able to start picking up orders through them. Now, they do have a card from what I've heard, but that's something that you get later on down the road, I guess. And that may leave you wondering, if you sign up for UberEats, do you need to get a heat bag? Do you need to keep your customers' food warm? You absolutely do. But you got to get this on your own. You got to go on Amazon, you got to go to the store, you got to find something that works, that keeps food hot. Personally, I signed up for other apps first, so I like to use my Grubhub bag, but I've also tried DoorDash and Postmates, so you could use one of those bags instead. Potentially, a different service, that's a good way to go. But anything is better than nothing. You absolutely do have to keep food warm. And like I said, I've been using this Grubhub bag. I actually have a heat pad that I throw in there as well because I want to keep food as warm as when I got it, maybe even warmer. That's a good way to kind of keep those ratings and tips up on both platforms. All right, so which one of these apps pays more money? That's probably what you guys were wondering when you clicked on this video. How do I make the most money delivering food? Well, let's kind of break it down because there's a lot of factors that go into play here, and one of those is going to be the market that you deliver in. So I can't really speak for everybody because I don't know how different it is based on your location, but I can give you guys a few ideas that are going to help you with the overall picture. And one of those is that Grubhub tends to have a higher payout per order on average. They just have some really good metrics. Their contribution is per mile and per time. So the contribution that they are sending is pretty good. UberEats, on the other hand, they do have some sort of calculation for payouts on their end, but they're not all that transparent there. So you don't know what you're getting. They do, come up with a pretty good contribution a lot of the times, but it's not as high as Grubhub. Both of these apps are going to let you keep 100% of your tips, and a lot of times that's basically what you're working for. That's going to be the deal breaker. So if you live in a good area where you can get high tips, it can be a good money maker, and if you know the right restaurants, the right parts of town to go to, you can do pretty well on both of these apps. But tipping's a little bit different on both apps. Grubhub has the customer send the tip before they place the order, so you know before you pick up that order the entire payout plus the tip included, which is really nice. It helps you find just the best, highest paying orders on that app. UberEats, on the other hand, prompts the customer to select that tip before an order, but then they also give them the opportunity to change that tip after the order. So when you're seeing an offer pop up on the screen, you see the estimated payout with the tip included, but that can be changed. Now, in my experience, it usually stays about the same. Sometimes it actually comes out higher unless you really mess something up. And personally, I have really no reason to not want to be held accountable here. I like to kind of see if I can get things to the customer quickly and as hot as possible. Like I mentioned, I do things that a lot of other drivers don't do, like having that heat pad. And so that really gives you an opportunity to get even higher tips than what you were expecting on the Uber Eats platform. Now, while Grubhub does have a lot of higher payouts, at least in my experience, what they are lacking is order consistency. Both of these apps can be a little bit inconsistent at times, but Grubhub is more inconsistent. Uber Eats tends to send more orders your way. You know, depending on the day of the week, it could be higher or lower, but overall, you're going to see more coming in through that platform. Grubhub allows you to schedule blocks, which is different than Uber Eats. You're kind of just always going online with Uber Eats, but with Grubhub, you can schedule those blocks out ahead of time, and that's the best way to get the most orders coming your way. However, if you're at a partner level, which is the basic level that everyone starts out at, you get the last selection of blocks. So you have to work your way up the hierarchy to get more blocks, which means doing things like maintaining a higher acceptance rate, which personally I don't like to do because I like being an independent contractor and kind of just picking the orders I want to take. So it's kind of a give and take where if you want to get the most blocks, the most work coming your way on Grubhub, you start accepting orders that you normally would not accept. And so that kind of levels itself out. In a sense, it could actually decrease your pay in that you're going to be accepting more low paying orders, but you're going to be getting more orders through the platform. But like I originally said, Grubhub has just been less consistent. There was actually a period that I kind of deleted the app for about a month because I was seeing no orders coming through, and even when I was on a block, I wasn't seeing a lot coming through. I don't know what happened, but they seem to just have lost some of that consistency, at least at the partner level. So let's talk about the different app features that both Uber Eats and Grubhub will bring drivers. Uber Eats is going to be the more technologically advanced app. Uber is a huge company and they put a ton of money into advancing their app, which is sometimes good for drivers, sometimes bad. They do a lot of things that are helpful for drivers, but they also do things to kind of help customers, which doesn't always help drivers. One of those things is while they do send you batched orders that a lot of times in my experience are pretty good, they end up being pretty high payouts. They don't tell you the actual destination of that second order address, so where you're dropping it off at. You know the total mileage, but you don't actually get to see that address until you're actually on the way to that customer's house, which means you can end up going out of the way. And they do this to kind of just get drivers to accept orders that, maybe you normally wouldn't. At the end of the day, it's really not a big deal, but it's just one of those features that Uber Eats has updated, and it's not necessarily as helpful to drivers as it could be. Grubhub has been updating lately. They've done a lot more to kind of make their app more modern because it wasn't as robust as a lot of other delivery apps out there in the past. They're now doing things like incentivizing drivers to move directly to the restaurant as soon as they accept an order. And, this makes sure that you're getting in the car. If you don't actually do that, if you don't actually start driving to that order, they will just take it off of your account and give it to someone else. So you'll lose that order and you'll have to start waiting for the next one. Now, personally, I do actually think that this is a good thing because I've had experiences, one of which I got an order to a burger place. I showed up, it turns out that someone else, another driver, had canceled this order. So it then transferred to me and it had been like 45 minutes. When I got there, the person at the store was actually on the phone with the customer and recommending them to switch over to Uber Eats for their future deliveries because they've had so many bad experiences with Grubhub drivers. Grubhub had been so relaxed, which made it really good for drivers. because, you know, you didn't have to deal with a lot of the metrics that other apps were forcing you to deal with. But this had come with some negative consequences for customers. So I'm kind of glad to see that Grubhub's updating here so that they can retain those customers going forward. Both of these apps allow you to reject as many orders as possible as you want. You're an independent contractor. That's one of the best things about working in the gig economy, is that you only have to take an order if you think it's worth your time, if you think you can make some good money based on the total payout and the distance traveled. But like I mentioned, Grubhub does have that tiered structure so that if you want to move up and get a higher ranking, get more blocks, you have to maintain a higher acceptance rate. You know, this is good and bad, but at the end of the day, UberEats is probably more straightforward about just allowing you to reject offers if you don't want them. Both of these apps also allow you to cancel orders if something happens and you no longer want to do it. And you can kind of get away with canceling a lot, but I would be careful because there is a threshold, especially with UberEats, that if you do hit, you'll get a warning, and then a second warning basically means you get deactivated. So definitely be careful there. As far as other things that the apps offer, there's going to be a lot more that UberEats provides as far as other things going on, like quests, which are really cool. It's a good way to make more money. They don't really pop up that often, but what they do, you can potentially get more payout per order if you complete a certain amount of orders within a given time frame. That's a really nice bonus. They also have Uber Pro, which has all sorts of perks, one of those being free online tuition through ASU, which is definitely a good perk if you haven't, you know, completed like a bachelor's degree or something like that. Personally, I'm ranked UberEats Pro, but I haven't used any of those features. They are kind of nice to have. One of them is like a free tow or roadside assistance if you need it, something that could pop up in the future, so it's nice to have, but probably not something I'm ever going to use that much. Grubhub's got some other features like paid sick time off, which is actually pretty easy to access, and they just send you an email letting you know how much you've stored up at the end of the month. So if something comes up and you're sick, you can literally just email them and they will pay you for that time, which is really nice. It's one of these benefits that is coming to the gig economy that didn't used to be there, as these apps are starting to do more to take care of their drivers, which I really like. I'm sure Uber has something like this, but I don't actually know what it is, to be honest with you, and it doesn't seem as easily accessible as Grubhub makes theirs. As far as support goes, I would actually say that I think UberEats wins this battle. I've been working with support on both apps, and both of them are reasonably responsive. If you call and you have an issue, they'll kind of help you work that out. But UberEats, I've been able to get responses faster, and when it turns out something happens, if it's a restaurant issue or some other issue like that, they'll actually reimburse you for that time. And Grubhub doesn't have a policy like this, which is why I think UberEats is better in terms of support. I would not take advantage of support too much here. I've definitely heard of, at least on Instacart, people being deactivated for asking for too many bumps. A bump is like a $5 payout for something that went wrong on the app, and Instacart, you know, keeps track of that. So I would assume UberEats has a similar policy. I definitely have heard of people being deactivated for being rude to customer support too much. So I wouldn't do that on any platform that you're on. If I missed anything with either of these two apps, please let me know. Leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your experience and which one you think is better. If you've delivered with UberEats and both Grubhub, let me know, because I'd love to hear from you guys with respect to that. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Gig Nation for all of the latest gig economy news and updates.